What's up, everybody? As I finish eating here for a second, it's of course your host, Andrew Esquire, the Legal Minds. We teach you to be your own judge. And yes, I'm glad to be here today, hanging out with you today. I'm off the eggplant juice, just got a Vietnamese coffee. You know, I know you guys are saying, well, Andrew, isn't it 9 p.m. there? Well, listen, I need a lot of energy for you guys. I need a lot of power to get through today. We have a very busy day today, getting through a lot of stuff. We're going to start with Elon, Nelson Peltz, all that good stuff. And then we're going to go to Florida's new, quote unquote, new anti-gay bill, because Florida is just passes all this gay hate and it's all hate. Yeah, we're going to talk about the new defamation bill in Florida, which is going to be, I think, the new equivalent. You know, people lampoon the don't say gay bill, aka the anti-grooming bill. I think this is going to be a new one. And remember how back in the day, the leftist media, by that I mean the mainstream media, completely misstated the facts of the Parental Rights and Education Act? They didn't read it at all. They just read their talking points. Well, this new defamation law seems to be exactly the same thing. So we're going to go through the actual text of the bill, not a summary, not our feelings, not an article. I know some other people have gone over articles, but they haven't actually read the bill. The thing about it in Florida is we have very transparent sunshine laws. Everything is open and out there. So I pulled that up. We got that. We're going to go through the actual text and go through that. But yeah, doing good. I do think I neglected to put this up on locals. So for those locals stands out there, I will put that up right now for you guys, so you guys can have that, and that so that the notification also gets out there to all of those base chats and Stacy's. But while you guys are piling in from all sorts of corners of the earth, if you could smash the like button on the way in, that would be much appreciated, senors and senoritas out there. All right, so locals, degenerates, you guys now have a home that's been created. Okay, and then Rumble, of course, is up as well. Let me give a quick shout out to the folks over there on Rumble. Appreciate y'all very, very much. Shout out to Tank Demon, Danielle, hanging out over there on Rumble. Also, I want to give a shout out to the first person to post tonight, which I believe was Garrett Pace. So Garrett Pace, congratulations on being first tonight to post in the chat on YouTube. And good to see everybody here in the house. Andrew and Taylor video, you mean Taylor Swift? I think the Taylor Swift stuff has got to be a separate one. I mean, there's so much going on with Taylor Swift. It's almost its own thing. But good to see all my Floridians in here. I see people checking in from Florida, from Texas, NYC, South Dakota. What's up, South Dakota? Good to see everybody here in the house. Okay, so and Doc, something interesting to hear about the Musk Peltz. Okay, I will definitely get to that. That is number one on the list after excuse me, after I die. Because that's exactly what's going on right now. Have you guys heard about the woke kindergarten thing? Have you heard about that? That might have to be the first thing we talk about before we get in. It's almost like the meme of the day. I always look for a meme of the day, but apparently there was a woke kindergarten that they spent $250,000 on in the Bay Area. And it's absolutely 100% tanked and failed. And then they found the person that was behind it, right? So in case you guys didn't see this is actually kind of a hilarious one. So, of course, no surprise, this individual here was behind this woke kindergarten in the Bay Area. And the funniest part about this is, about the woke kindergarten is, after they ended up enacting the woke kindergarten, literacy and numeracy ended up dropping like 10% in that particular area. So like literally as soon as they allocated funds to it, they can't read. Actually, here we go. Here's the article. So this Bay Area elementary school allocated $250,000, so $250K, to a woke kindergarten with the goal of establishing an abolitionist early learning ecosystem. So once again, this is public funds that trains teachers to address issues like white supremacy, racism, and oppression. After 2 years in woke kindergarten, the elementary school had a 4% drop in numeracy and a 12% drop in literacy. A 12% drop in literacy. Can you guys, do you understand? Do you understand how hard it is to go backwards on literacy? But we're succeeding in doing that. The school is now on the lowest performing list with reduced attendance. That's what happens. That's what happens. Anyways, that's your meme of the day, I think. I think that counts as meme of the day. By the way, this is a little avatar that this weird woman made of herself. Because, of course, it's always a... excuse me, guys. Eating too fast. Of course, there's always a self-insert, right? Of course, there's always a self-insert. Like all my trans non-binary siblings, we deserve to live, thrive, and be who I am. Word of the day is ceasefire. Like this is literally what's going on in these schools. Absolute hilarious. Like it's getting to the point of hilariousness. Weird for 5 Australian says, next time you're with Valiant, I want you to go back to the Arch talk. We have so far seen woke winning. What will they do when they think they're losing? Honestly, weird. I think they're kind of losing right now and they're panicking. I think woke is starting to lose. And I don't want to I don't want to get like, hey, you know, like the culture war is over and it's a victory. No. What I'm saying is, and I've said this, I think, to several people, I view it like the Reconquista of Spain. Anybody who's, you know, studied that or knows about that, like there was a point at which most of Spain had fallen to the caliphate. But there's the small little area in the north where like 300 dudes pretty much finally got a victory, finally got a W, and held the ground. I think we're at that point where it's like we held the ground. We kept them from taking absolutely everything. But we need to kind of push, right? Now we need to push forward. And we'll talk about this defamation law because I think that's one of the steps forward in the right direction. And I think that the defamation law that Florida passes actually covers a lot of things we need to consider seriously, and we need to have legal remedies for these problems because they are a serious problem. So I think, look, I think what I say is woke lost yet? No. But I think it's getting pushed back and it's hitting a wall, particularly where it's hitting a wall, which is really great, is abroad. And that's something I've covered quite often. For example, over here in Asia, you know, when they try to check certain things and it just doesn't work, right? Or people are like, no, we just reject that because that paradigm does not work here. It's laughable, right? Like I played the clip of the Japanese show where they rejected CRT, right? So obviously, there's certain things that aren't going to fly abroad. Obviously, there's certain notions that are never going to go truly global. But that said, that doesn't mean that that we get to rest on our laurels or that the job is done. That this isn't panic. Narcissism still strong. Yeah, no, but I definitely will talk to Valiant about it for sure. And also, I had a great conversation with Arch. Arch and I had a great conversation. I anticipate hanging out with him in the future and. You know, if he wants to come on, if he wants me to come on his channel, happy to come on his channel. Also, that dog in him said, wait, is this live? You know it's live, guys. 433 people hanging out today. So make sure you smash the like button here. Only 139 likes. So come on, we can get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Let's pump those numbers up. And I think someone in the chat said AI is taking a lot of the woke jobs. That's very, very, very true. Because, well, if an AI can do your job and you're really just sitting around drinking Starbucks all day, Sorry. Jeff R said 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Jeff R, I think it's your first time gifting memberships. So thank you, Jeff R. Appreciate that. I'm gonna deem you Jeff Sama too, because obviously my good friend Jeff of Legal Vices is Jeff Sama 1. But thank you so much. Appreciate that, Jeff. And also say thank you to Jeff Sander Hammerschlag, Johnny Boy, David Foley, Sharon Grouse, Twisted Jack, Matt Henneman, Abdul Hassan, Helix, Stay Zooted, and Clint Florida Man. Stay up in there. Weird said, shame on you for not grilling for 40K lore. No, I talk a lot about 40K lore. If you caught my member stream, we were talking about which Primarchs are coming back, or was that on, maybe that was on locals. I'm forgetting whether it was members or locals, but I was literally sitting here talking about the Primarchs coming back because we have like Lionel Johnson who just came back. Obviously, look, I think Vulcan needs to come back. We're obviously going to get, we're obviously going to get a lot of the ones that are just off, right? The Khans Primarch, right? Space Wolves Primarch, like all the ones that kind of just went off, like they're going to show up at some point. Also, Rogel Dorn is not dead. Rogel Dorn is definitely not dead. Okay, people think he's dead. He's not dead. That said, what's up, Jonas? Jonas, if you want to, I know you were nerding out on the SEC stuff, and I'm going to talk about that at the front end. So I will send you an invite if you are not busy being put into the slave kitchens by WW Pro. You are free to join me. I know that he is a harsh taskmaster. He makes you make those pies on time. You know, I understand that, but listen, sometimes you got to spare some time for your homeboys, and I will send you a very exclusive Legal Mindset invite, because of course you guys know I don't have a lot of people on the channel. I actually don't like having a lot of people on because frankly, a lot of times, and I'll say this, a lot of times with those panels, I feel like I don't know, when I see a larger panel, I don't know why half the people are on a panel, and they frankly don't have much to say that I really give a shit about. But Jonas always has good information, and he's actually done a lot of research. And about the SEC stuff, he actually knows what he's talking about. So I will send him an invite. That said, yeah, there'll be much more 40K lore. So calm down. I think, honestly, 40K I like talking about. I mean, maybe it'll be every 2-3 months I'll do a 40K stream. I mean, anime I try to do every month. I mean, I can only do so much nerd shit for you guys. Come on, I can only do so much nerd shit. Plus, it's February, so I'm gonna have to have a Dune stream. So we're gonna have to do Dune. I may do the Dune stream with Chris Gore because Chris Gore owes me a stream. But we're gonna need to talk about his Dune popcorn bucket. If you guys have not seen the Dune popcorn bucket, it's very problematic. I'm just saying the Dune popcorn bucket is probably banned in some countries. Also, Gemma, hey, what's going on? It's early, but hey, I'm glad to have you early and bright and early in the morning, waking you up with some factual information. But speaking of facts, Jonas, how's it going, brother?
You rang.
Yes, indeed I did. And look, I'm going to be nice. I am in no way saying,
but go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob.
I mean,
yeah, no, that's not directed at you at all.
He dropped the best clip. I mean, that clip of him winking at the camera. Oh, you know, just here hanging out with my friends, thinking about what companies to buy, to acquire.
So let's play that one real quick in case anybody hasn't seen that, because I know you probably have. Most people have. I wish I could have streamed yesterday. I was really, really busy. But I dropped this one on my X for anybody who hasn't seen this, right? Okay, so here's the 7-second clip.
So what brings you to the Lola carpet?
I'm just here with friends, thinking about companies to acquire.
What? So what brings you to
thinking about companies to acquire? And mind you, I'm pausing in here. Who's that guy in the background of the photo there?
I think that might be that billionaire activist investor, Mr. Nelson Peltz.
Oh, activist. Yes, activist. Yeah, no, in fact, that is indeed Nelson Peltz. And if you guys saw the thumbnail for today, the thumbnail is actually from this red carpet event. It's actually Nelson Peltz, Elon, and that was his daughter. Is that Peltz's daughter?
Yeah, Peltz's daughter and David and Victoria Beckham's son, if I'm not mistaken.
Gosh, I mean, doesn't Peltz have like 8 kids? Isn't he like single-handedly?
I mean, if you got the money, hey, why not?
Yeah. So that's kind of what sparked this. Now, I will be very clear. If he was actually going to, and Jonas, I'm pretty sure somebody's mentioned this other than me, although I don't know anymore. If he was actually going to make a serious bid, that's something you'd have to disclose to the SEC. You can't just go, you can't just go secretly making bids. However, he didn't make a statement that he was going to do anything specific. He just said thinking about what companies to acquire. Now, that's not a problem with the SEC, but mind you, Elon has gotten in trouble in the past for posting previously on Twitter. Now, obviously, he owns Twitter X, but posting about some of his acquisitions on social media. He has gotten in trouble for that.
That's true. If he was it the 5% threshold, if he gets above 5%, he has to disclose, and he also has to say what his intentions are, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Now, and this is an important fact, and thank you, Is This Live? Appreciate your support of the channel, and also the fact you dropped. His son and daughter are in the movie. They went to watch Bear. No, I get it, right? He had a legitimate reason to be there, but I mean, he's made enough statements, and he's been active enough regarding Disney to make the thought plausible, right? So, I mean, obviously, you guys reported this on That Park Place. So I'll use your fine reporting here.
I appreciate that. At the very least, I appreciate the coronary that he just gave Bob Iger.
Right. So obviously, there's Elon with Peltz's daughter. And then you've got here this comment that you guys posted here, which is a great one. So this is the Aristocats, right? Which, in case you guys didn't see this post, there's a trigger warning on the fucking Aristocats. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, at what point are we just putting a trigger warning on everything? Okay.
One time, one of the cats has chopsticks in his hands, guys. It's
and
brutal.
That's it. It's chopsticks.
Have you seen the scene? I mean, it's typical 1960s level of
wait, Jonas, are you serious? Are you serious? That one depiction is the offensive thing.
I'm fairly certain that's the one. Yeah, there's a scene where
no way.
Yeah, fortune cookie always wrong is about the level of racism we're talking here. That kind of racism of the era.
Okay. Well, as our Asian correspondent here, I have to view this and see if it's okay. I found an 18-second clip. I think we can get away with showing this and not get struck.
It's on YouTube. It'll be in the middle of Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. So
yeah. No, I think this is it. Okay, hold on. Jonas, you can confirm live here.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Yep. Let's let me increase the volume on this real quick. Boost that volume. All right. And let's make sure that's up. All right, let's play this.
Oh boy, fellas, let's rock the joint. Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Fuyang. Fortune cookie always wrong. Boy, he blew it.
Okay, yeah.
That's even milder than I remember it being.
To be honest, like, look, I am in Siam, like literally, right? I think if I turned to a random Thai and was like, "Do you find this offensive?" They would laugh their ass off at that. They think that was funny. I don't think that a random average Asian person would think that was like, "Oh my God, I'm so offended," right? It's just, it's absolutely ridiculous.
And this is just because they know they can't take the backlash from actually removing it from their service.
No, they knew they would get shit if they clipped it, right? Because if they clipped it, then it would draw more attention to it. So I think the warning is the concession, right?
Oh yeah. Well, there's a whole bunch of them. I think that warning probably means that it's not in the kids section anymore. I think Jungle Book is also not in the kids section anymore. Most of those ones that they're doing live action remakes of now, because they have representation in them, they're not doing. They put these warnings on the original versions and say, "Oh no, don't look at that. Don't ride our ride."
Yeah.
Hey, you
just
you're
real
looking
quick,
very well this morning.
Sorry, I wanted to make sure that I was equally discriminatory. So just wanna throw that out there real quick. And in fact, hold on, I haven't fully fixed this yet, since obviously we're going full. I am now the Regal mindset. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, guys, just God. I didn't know it was that. Gemma, welcome as a new member of the RPG. Welcome back. Actually, I think you remember before. So welcome back, and welcome to all the members that have either become a member on your own like Gemma or been gifted a membership, because we've had some really generous people on this channel. We have Kate C, aka Snake Plush Kitten, that says, I'm sure it's been a while since this was asked here, but is it Memorex? No, it's live, baby. Those live emojis in the chat. This is 100% live and raw. How else am I going to have on the AI voice of Jonas J. Campbell?
That is correct, sir. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel.
Are you also running for Disney? Mexican Airman said, "Oh my God, my Smarty Pants Cracker Brothers are up way too early for this Mexican on the West Coast. I'm nestled into my California native land, so my teepee down by the river."
Hey, I think he watched Peter Pan.
You really packed a lot in there, didn't you? Didn't you, Mike? Hey, Mike. I am doing so, and guys, I accidentally set it originally. I actually set my pre-show. I actually set it to 7 a.m. EST, which was nuts. It was because my computer was on the wrong time. It was on Japan time instead of Thailand time. So I fixed that, and I set it to the right time, which is now 9 a.m. EST. So I am doing a pre-show. I'll be streaming tomorrow, but also the next day at exactly this time, which is 9 a.m. as a pre-show for the earnings call. So Mike, you're obviously invited on. Jonas, if you're around and awake, you're invited on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stream about this time. I'll go for my normal time, an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I'm going to sleep and wake up again for the earnings call, because I'm going to need some rest for that. And I'm sure that after the earnings call, I'm probably going to be streaming again, because of all the, there's going to be some implications to whatever they said on the call. So, man, I can't wait. What I want to go over, and what I will be going over, is some stuff they've said historically that's got them into trouble, and some stuff they can say based on the current conditions that will get them into trouble. So there's a lot of landmines, especially legal stuff, that is currently out there that they really can't talk about, or if they do, they're going to be in big trouble. So I want to point that out and kind of give you guys some boundaries, and also point out where, hey, look, this stuff ended up in the lawsuit. Like, this is a type of thing they want to avoid saying because XYZ. So we're going to do that on
Are they actually being careful about that now?
I don't know. I don't know whether they'll be careful, Jonas. That's the thing. I have no fucking clue, which is great. It's like this election season. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in November. Nobody knows what's going to happen in November, right? I mean, Texas may be out of the union and by November. Who knows, right? So, I mean, at this point, anything goes, and anything can go for this earnings call. I think anything is on the table. I mean, really, I can expect any question to come in at this point. Especially since we have the Disney decision in the federal case. We've got Peltz, we've got other lawsuits that are still out there, right? We've got a lot of stuff for them to be asked about. The sale in India. There's a lot of stuff that can come up on this call, and I'm sure in Peltz, the whole Peltz situation, that may come up on the call. Is this live? Says, I don't know U.S. stock laws, but could Elon buy more than 5% if he doesn't declare a hostile takeover attempt?
I don't think he can.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't. And mind you, over 5% would be a lot. I think the legal term is a shit ton. That would be a ton. I mean, that's more, correct me, Jonas, if I'm wrong. You've been really tracking the numbers on this. I think 5% would be more than Peltz currently has.
Yeah, Peltz. Oh man, that question. 1.77% is what he has as of the latest
Yes, I know you've corrected it. And by the way, I gave a lot of love to you for doing that, for having the respect to come out and correct yourself repeatedly and say, no, actually, I said this and it was really this. So 1.73? 77.
Yeah. So he's gotten a 0.01% increase since the last time. But going by filing, I kept going back to him like, well, hold on a second here. It
wasn't, to be honest, the way that was put down, the way it was marked down, it was not very clear. It was as clear as molasses. Looking at that stock form.
One thing I do know is that Jason Aintabi from Blackwell's, he's got almost nothing. He's got less than 300,000 on the high end and probably around 150,000 on the low end. And he's over here trying to get almost complete control of the board with almost nothing.
Yeah. I think Don said here real quick. Yes, he can. This is my Don, by the way, winning mod. He's winning actually a huge mod competition. Don is now the most timed out mod on all of the internet. I've timed him out no more than 5 times in the last 48 hours. Maybe only for 10 seconds, but it still counts. Even 10 seconds counts. Remember that, ladies. He has to disclose it as long as he's not exercising control of the company. Yeah, and look, the answer to most things when it comes to the SEC is disclose it, right? You just disclose it. That doesn't mean you can't do it. You just disclose. And that's very common for SEC. It's just, hey, you have to file a disclosure. So just file a disclosure. It's pretty routine. And in fact, what we're going to look at is in a minute is the disclosures, some of which I know you brought up. But before we get to that, let me drop. Is this live dropping 20 illegal mindset memberships?
Dude.
And then Jeff Thorpe coming up strong with 10. So we got 30 illegal mindset memberships there. Thank you so much. Is this live? And Jeff Thorpe, you guys are really hooking people up in the chat. Nude Gamer, Doc Fortune, Joey, Aldra, Interested American, Fabio, Japanese Demon Lord, Abari, Lucifer, Dr. Kocho Dragon, Incoherent Turd, Spartan Bot, Matt Anglin, Jeremy Reese, For the Emperor, Chris Nelson, Don Bach, Mr. Coldbloom, all you guys, and Pappy G, all you guys say thank you to Is This Live, and the rest of you say thank you to Jeff Thorpe, people like Lane Christensen, Impulse, Two Tones, Joseph Dways, Mr. Chandler, and Heath Nielsen. Say thank you to Jeff. Yep. So I think that's got that right there. And then Joey says, could Elon simply invest in Trian? Yes. So theoretically, Jonas, if Elon just gives Trian money to manage, like Michael Burry style, they can invest it and then Trian handles all the disclosures.
I think you're right, because then Peltz would be the one with the disclosure responsibility there.
Obligation. Right.
Now this is outside of my wheelhouse. I don't have my series.
Yeah, and to be clear, this is not my area of specialty either. So I am like, this is outside of my specific practice area. I'm not an SEC filings expert about this specifically. I know a lot about bond filings, right? And what's with material non-disclosure for municipal bonds, which I thought would never be relevant. But then Disney did a thing.
Or had been doing a thing for about 50 to 60 years.
Yeah, regarding those form of securities, not necessarily my wheelhouse, but my understanding is that if you give money to a fund, the fund bears the disclosure responsibility. Just like, for example, Vanguard or any other BlackRock, Vanguard, any other entity, you're entrusting them with your funds, and they take care of disclosure shit because that's what they're collecting fees to do, right? That's their job. Let's see. Gemma says, I always come back. I love to hear it. I love it. I love to hear it. And it's Gemma.
No, it's Gemma.
Gemma. Why am I saying Gemma? I don't know. I'm so sorry. Gemma. Fallen Hero 4565 $3 super sticker. Thank you so much. And Lucas Garrett, welcome as a new member of the RPG. I think we're caught up there. All right, so this is the statement that you guys had on the Park Place, which I thought was very very pertinent, which is current Disney management is destroying the company. Time for change. Right? This is only like a couple days ago. So
yeah, beautiful.
I mean, that's straight and on point. And then when you pair that with his other statements, hi Bob, and this comment at Lola there. When you put those together, you think, look, it could be reasonable that Elon put some money in Tryon at the very least, right? I don't think that's a crazy thing. I don't think that would be nuts. And I certainly think at a minimum, Elon is going to remain a vocal opponent of what's going on at Disney. I mean, I think that's a minimum. I think that's pretty safe to say.
Or if he's got friends that also want to get in there and mix things up. What are we at? $177 billion in market cap. So let's just see, 0.05. Yeah, he could put almost $9 billion into the company, and that would get him to the threshold that he has to disclose it. 8.85 is the threshold of disclosure here. So yeah. He did just miss out on $55 billion in compensation, so I have to wonder
with the dividends.
Oh yeah, no with Elon Musk getting turned down by the Chancery Court in Delaware. Yes, coming in and saying, "Oh no, you don't deserve your pay."
Yeah, that was fucked up. But also, listen, there's risks to every jurisdiction, right? There's pros and cons to incorporating in different states. There are pros to Delaware, but there's also cons, right? So there's certain types of, because I do business formation and I advise clients on it all the time. And there are risks to doing certain types of corporations in certain states, right? No, like there's always pros and cons. It just depends on what your purpose is. He fucked up there. Though they definitely had an issue there with the compensation plan. So I think his plans are to move into Texas, which would be smart.
Yeah.
David Remain says Musk just has to have a more share than Bob for a good talking point in a clip. That'd be hilarious if just Musk purchases more of Disney than Bob. That would, I mean, that'd be pretty good. I mean, pretty good.
Owning more shares than Bob Iger is not a high threshold because Bob Iger sells his shares because he gets paid in shares.
Yeah.
And
does not.
And Peltz obviously has from his proxy statements pointing out that at this point, Bob Iger has sold more than $1 billion worth of shares over the years.
That should be concerning. I mean, to me, that would be concerning if I was like, wait a second. The CEO has sold off $1 billion in shares.
Yeah, right now, let's see. Iger owns $18 million worth of shares, and within the next 60 days, he should get 2 million in shares in compensation. I'm just doing the quick math here. This is based off like a $92 stock price, so it's out of date. So 200 million in shares. Wow. Holy moly, that's a lot of shares acquirable within 60 days. So, yeah. What?
Yeah, that comp
that
plan,
can't be right. It can't be right.
No, it can be because, I mean, obviously we know that one of the criticisms, one of the things that he wanted to bring to the board was executive compensation, right? So obviously they are overpaying their executives for shitty performance. Yeah, so they're being paid for no performance. In fact, someone brought up that this may be the payment for underperformance. I don't know. I don't want to know what the payment is for good performance if this is for bad performance. It's clearly ridiculous.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to check my math there, shares acquirable within 60 days on the last proxy statement. He has 2 million shares coming to him, and 2 million at $92 or $93 or whatever it is now. Yikes. That's a lot of money for not much activity for a massive loss in market cap.
Yes. So what I wanted to get to was some of these statements in the SEC. Now I know you've covered some of the conflicting statements, Jonas.
Oh yeah.
But just to point out a couple of the more interesting ones. This is one of the filings from February 1st, right? From the Tryon Group. This is actually their kind of comprehensive proxy filing, right, which has all of their social media posts. For example, this social media, I think this is actually Twitter, maybe, or the website, where it just talks about, hey, vote your blue card, right? So, vote your blue proxy card, going through the profiles of the different board members, showing everything they've got posted on the website, showing Nelson right there, Jay Rasulo right there, and everything they've got posted up. But one thing I want to talk about is this list they posted here. So they go into, in this letter, which was filed February 1st, some of the advantages that Disney has, right? Saying, look, they've got Star Wars and Marvel, not like they've done anything with them. They've got Disney and Pixar animation. They've got theme parks and cruise lines, right? They've got Disney Plus, which should be enviable, probably right now.
Yeah, somehow they've taken the greatest entertainment brand in the planet and made it into something that we can skip that one this month.
Yeah. And somehow they've made sure the stock goes down over the last 1, 3, 5 years. In fact, if you guys pay attention to the thumbnail for my earnings call, that's actually the 5-year chart for the Disney stock. You can see how it's down, right? I mean, that's the literal chart taken today with the 5-year chart. It's a very clear downward angle over 5 years. So they've collectively lost nearly $200 billion of investment in Disney, while the rest of the market has been up. And I love instead, you, like us, have been caught in the Disney mousetrap.
Mousetrap. There you go.
There you go. There it is. So here you go. Disney has lost its way. The creative engine has stalled. For the first time in a decade, Disney lost its position as the highest grossing movie studio. Disney's last 5 films have collectively cost over $1 billion to produce, yet 2 of those films have lost money and another barely eked out a profit. I want to say something real quick about our good friend, Valiant Renegade. Has Peltz come out and said it yet? Because I feel like sometimes when I'm watching this and they're talking about the movies losing money, I'm like, he must be somebody forwarded him a stream, I'm sure, at some point about the economics in the movies. I mean, it's got to be quoting there.
If not, I mean, he was on Fox News. He was on Gutfeld as well. Sorry, his articles appeared on Gutfeld. Yeah, and on several websites, including Breitbart. If Peltz is doing any kind of research, if he's doing any kind of research on fan sentiment, there's no way that Legal Mindset and Valiant Renegade and WDW Pro don't show up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. Although I don't blame him, and I've said this before, I do not blame him. In fact, it is a smart move to not talk about the lawsuit. And I've said that once again. I'm sure he is aware of it, but the more I think about it and the more I ponder on it strategically, he needs to not mention it at all, right? Because it actually hurts his chances of success at a vote. Now, I think if we go into shareholder suit territory, which I'll talk about, especially if the election, if the board of directors decision does not go Peltz's way, then I think it may come up. But for now, I think it's better he does not bring that up, because I think a lot of Disney stockholders are probably not fully educated on that issue and probably tend to take the Disney side of that position. So I think going into the Disney lawsuit issue with DeSantis and into Reedy Creek generally, I think it's a bad idea for those that are involved in the business side. Nothing good is going to come of it. You should definitely be aware of it based on liabilities. You've got to be, right? Because it's a significant liability. It's actually disclosed in some of their corporate disclosures. But I don't think you need to harp on it. And I certainly don't think when we're talking about a letter here, like people might ask, why isn't Reedy Creek in here? He's not going to bring, there's nothing good would come of bringing that up in an SEC filing.
What do you think about how many of these topics are things that you have to have something where an average person could understand it? And,
Yes.
and not even an investor, not even a smart investor, but an average person has to understand it. And there is so much required in order to have the context to understand that, first of all, Disney and Reedy Creek should not have been the same thing, or the fact that
They're
they were
not. But they're not.
issuing municipal bonds and they have no right to do that, and that could be a massive criminal liability. This has to get to the point. I think the point at which it starts coming up as a chip for Nelson Peltz is if there are actual charges coming up from the audit. That's the point at which I think it becomes a non-ignorable issue, because right now it's something that you have to go to the great regal mindset there too. It's funny. It looked like you actually looked down at your title card there when you looked down. No, you have to have so much complex nuance, forgive me for the redundancy there, in order to understand what's going on here, which is why you are so important in this space, Andrew.
Well, and because that's why I cover this case so closely, because there's so many nuances to it, and people who don't like really pay attention don't understand much about it. I even covered Dane Abrams the other day, who got up and he had this whole segment on why is nobody covering the dismissal of the case. And he had a good point about the Disney controlled media, in a sense that like it doesn't suit the Disney narrative, or rather the leftist narrative, which is a Disney narrative. But that said, completely missed the mark on the law, completely missed the mark on what was going on there, and completely just parroted some of the talking points about it being a First Amendment claim rather than state law, property law, government law, and so on. So
when Deadline covered it, they said, well, DeSantis won one, as if it is just one in a series of battles, as opposed to a complete dismissal of the federal case.
Right, exactly. You know, and they're like, well, you know, Disney could win the state. Okay, but even if Disney wins the state case, understand that the state case doesn't restore Reedy Creek. The federal case was the one where they were hoping to actually restore their control of Reedy Creek. Even if they were to win the state case, the best they got is some time, because at a certain point, those covenants will expire under the Marketable Title Act. There's also ways to separately challenge them, right? So let's say they were even valid in the first place. Well, they can challenge them on other grounds. So there's other ways to attack those. I think by the way, there's no way they let those things stand. But I mean, they're completely unenforceable under Florida law. But that being said, there's many different ways to attack those things, but they don't get back the board. They don't get back the board seats. Even if they win the state case, which, mind you, the CFTOD sued Disney in the state case, they're not going to get their board back. It's not going to happen.
And can you even imagine the scrutiny at that point? The inspector general, let's say you do have some kind of retaliation from the Florida government. You can't retaliate. It's not retaliation if you find out that they committed a crime and then you prosecute them for that crime.
Correct. It's not retaliation when you discover somebody committed a crime. It's like, you know, if you committed murder, but you're like, but I said political speech first, but I said Black Lives Matter, and you're convicting me because I yelled Black Lives Matter. We're like, no, we're convicting you because you shot somebody on the street.
What's the guy's name? Stanky? Classy. If I'm Classy, I'm not going anywhere near Reedy Creek ever again. There's no way I'm returning to the scene of the alleged crime.
Well, John Classy, he's actually at a new job right now. I believe he's at VHB, which is another engineering firm. Now, I will be very, very nice because I've worked with VHB as the engineers there. They were quite good people. They were quite smart. But yeah, you've got his title over here, Regional Development Manager at with his real estate broker's license, professional engineer. He's a PE, and he's at VHB. And you can see here, Reedy Creek administrator for 8 years and 3 months, right? And before that, he was on the West 92 Development Authority, and he'd had some other engineering. But many of the point is, many of his contracts before were for Disney, so there's a lot that he was tied into there with Disney, and obviously VHB would appreciate him being on, because his role is to liaison and get that work. So I'm assuming he's there to get that work from Disney and Disney allies in the area. So I imagine that's what he is as a regional development manager. That's pretty much just somebody who's getting the grease, right? Getting those contracts, because VHB wants those engineering contracts.
Stay classy.
And look, there are very good engineers at VHB, and I don't blame them for trying to get business. Everybody tries to court business of all the large corporations in Central Florida. Disney's no exception. So a lot of good engineers there, but he really needs to worry about, I think, charges coming down on him for sure. They also canceled the second day of depositions with him. So I think they may have gotten enough out of him where like, we already got enough to get this guy.
Oh, I would not want to be him right now.
Yeah. Caveman Media said, I got my membership a few weeks ago. So thank you. No, thank you for joining. And thank you, the 865 base chats and Stacy's out there who are hanging out in the chat today. Guys, you can smash the like button. We are almost at 400. We're at 390. Let's get to 400 in terms of likes right now. Peltz Pike says, how do I consult you about forming my business? Andrew Esquire live at gmail.com. I'll let you know. Obviously, I am an attorney. I charge, but you can hit me up there and I'll get you the payment stuff and all that other stuff about doing business consulting, which I do on the regular. So Andrew Esquire live at gmail.com. Hit me up and I will talk to you about that. All right. So back to this form. Emerging streaming business has been poorly managed. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Yep.
So since the service has launched, Disney has failed to achieve profitability in any fiscal year. While Netflix generates attractive profits, margins, and cash flow from its streaming service, success at Disney Plus has been elusive. Today, Netflix generates 21 cents of profit for every dollar, while Disney lost 14 cents. Now, to be fair, Netflix has been in the game longer, and Netflix also has a different model than Disney Plus. Now, Disney Plus can adopt that model. There's nothing stopping it from adopting a Netflix-like model. But Netflix has been in the game a bit longer, does have a deeper content library, and also has gotten its sourcing and production kind of down to a T.
But Disney Plus also has a content drought. All they have is kids content right now. And if you want it for anything other than a babysitter service, then I guess they have to find a way to make money on these $200 million Star Wars shows that nobody watches.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and meanwhile, Netflix is like, hey, Japan, Korea, abroad, you guys want to make some TV shows? Yeah. Let's just drop those on. Netflix. Hey, you guys got some anime? Yeah, we're dropping that on Netflix. I mean, they're really cranking on content. That's their model, right? That's what they do.
And the entire I mean, I suppose if you have me on here and we're talking about streaming, the
Sure.
whole idea here, Disney Plus is a failure. It is, bar none. It is a failure, and they are going to, and rather than admit defeat, they're going to kill Disney Plus. They're essentially going to kill Hulu and then slide it in under the face of Disney Plus and pretend like it's Disney Plus that's profitable.
The skin suit of Disney Plus.
Yeah. Hulu is profitable because it has a bunch of content that people want to watch. It has a bunch of bingeable series. They've taken their time getting there. They've not tried to, The Handmaid's Tale was in there, but they don't tend to go for those huge prestige series that have to have, Lucasfilm level of special effects.
Well, and frankly, The Handmaid's Tale didn't need a lot of special effects. So
right, they needed something that resounded with the liberal audience to the point where they have their go-to analogy for almost any piece of legislation
is Handmaid's Tale. It's like, this is gonna make it in. Okay, guys, yeah. It's like an overuse of a certain term for a political regime between 1938 and 1945. That you start overusing it, and it loses its meaning, right? It's like when you say Handmaid's Tale every 2 seconds, Handmaid's Tale means less.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, because because there's only one party right now that is really pushing on that weird gender stuff.
Right. Correct. Which is the weird thing. If you said which party wants to install a gender-based autocracy, it's not the Republicans.
Or which party is pushing for on-demand surrogacy that you can't say no.
That's a specific issue on one side of the aisle that is definitely there, where you saying no is a hate crime. Right? If you say no, if you refuse, that's a hate crime. Right? And we can call you an ist and a phobe, which is why Florida passed the bill, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I know you've probably seen it, but he says here, the next point is ESPN is challenged and lacks a clear strategy. So ESPN is one of the most respected brands in sports media, but a once lucrative business has suffered, and the rights costs have dramatically increased. So I'm sure you saw the proposition to bundle ESPN, I believe it was, with Netflix.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And
I think that was Peltz's idea, right? That was Peltz's idea.
I don't know if he just floated it to Bloomberg, because that's pretty much the whole sentence right there, and everything else is just speculation about it. That Peltz wants Disney to bundle ESPN with Netflix. That would be a great idea. That is the largest streaming audience in the world, and it's bigger than some cable providers. So why not?
But here's why not. Because that requires Disney to play nice with others and into a nice, non-dickish contractual agreement with Netflix. And what did we see with TSG, which ended up suing, Disney? Disney will screw with the numbers. They will try to mess with you. They will try to undermine your contract. Why would anybody want to play with Disney when Disney has shown not to play nice, right? When they've turned every single time when there's a contract, they tried to screw their part. Well, at least lately it seems that way. It appears that way. Not every single time. I'm sure there's vendors there's the Mickey Mouse, cotton candy vendor that they pay on time. I'm sure they exist, right? But these major contracts, they're screwing people over. I mean, if I'm a Netflix size entity, I'm concerned, right? I'm like, okay, how are we verifying these numbers? How are we making sure this is legit? Right, because I would not trust them. Which
is the question when you hear names like Amazon and Apple thrown around. Amazon and Apple makes more sense to me because Bob Iger he's a face guy. He likes to get in there. He likes to get in the room with the person, and we're best friends. You guys know that Steve Jobs and Bob Iger were best friends before he passed.
Besties.
Best friends. So when Amazon comes in with 5 times the market cap of Disney and says, "Oh, you want to do business together?" This is a class in which Disney does not compete. They only like to do business with people that they can control, people that come to them begging like they're supplicants to the mouse. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that working unless Disney is truly desperate.
Yeah, I don't think they would agree to do that at all. I think they would agree. Apple. I mean, I think Bob Iger would love the prestige of it. He would love we're partnering with Apple. They're a socially conscious company that's located in California where we love to be, right? I can see that happening. I just don't see them going with Netflix because that's that chief rival. And I think, frankly, I don't think Netflix wants to partner with them. I think Netflix would be at this point, let it get worse and then get a better deal, right? So, I mean, if anything, let Disney sink further and then try to make an offer on Netflix as a component part to acquire Netflix make an acquisition of ESPN. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that just gave an idea.
See, that would be ESPN. Smart, but it wouldn't.
To Netflix about
it would go against Disney's strategy, which is the Disney brand before all.
Yes.
So
by the way, shout out to Pro real quick. I see you. Senpai notices you in the chat. Good morning,
Pro.
Yeah. Have I not modded you? I'll mod you, Pro, but don't do anything with your powers. Just sit there and look pretty. You're gonna be a standard blue moderator. So
if Disney's goal is cultural relevance, put your content on Netflix. If Disney's goal is more power to Disney at the expense of all others, then don't put your content on Netflix. Because right now, third tier Aardman titles do better on Netflix than anything on Disney Plus.
Yeah, no, it's true. And they're killing it. I mean, Netflix is killing it. And when I ask people what they have here, it's Netflix. There's a Netflix series in Korea. I was just there visiting. There's a Netflix series of like popcorn chips, and there's literally a drink. It's alcohol called Netflix Chill. I'm not kidding. I have a picture somewhere. I sent it to myself because I literally could not believe this thing was real. But I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Absolutely nuts. I'll find it later. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, Netflix. you're really You're really pushing it.
It's good marketing. I'm not much of a drinker myself, but when I hear that'll probably sell a few cases there. I'll say that.
Yeah. The Netflix chill, yeah, it's gonna sell. But it's popular. People know Netflix. Like when you say Netflix, it has brand recognition. If I say Hulu, people will be like, "What?" If I tell an average Thai or Korean or Japanese person Hulu, maybe 1 out of 100, but not really. Nobody really knows Hulu. They'll know Netflix.
I will say that's an advantage to Hulu over there, because what is Hulu?
Right.
And another reason they shouldn't kill Hulu is because it doesn't have the Disney connotation to it.
True. God, that's so true. God, that's so true. So true. I love this. Andrew makes pro a mod. Suddenly the chat explodes with WW Pro emojis. With great power comes great abuse. All right, so here we go. Prices of the parks have gone up even as investment has been deferred. So Disney revealed it invested a whopping $60 billion into its parks, but they failed to answer how it plans to compete. By the way, that quote unquote $60 billion, that's like an Amber Heard pledge. And on top of that, they've already said that the most of the money is going to China. So between Hong Kong and Shanghai, with a little bit that's going into cruise ships that are out of Singapore.
Shoo, what a waste.
Yeah, it's not going much elsewhere.
Meanwhile, Peltz goes to the parks and says, "Yeah, these things are getting a little long in the tooth."
Exactly. Okay, so real quick here, saying the lack of focus, lack of alignment, lack of accountability. These are all the problems with Disney's board members, right? So obviously they're not focused. They're running other large companies that have nothing to do with media, right? They don't have any stock at all, right? They own less than 350,000 of Disney stock.
Yep.
9 of them have never even bought a single share. Bob Iger has sold nearly all of his Disney stock, reaping $1 billion in rewards. So the real felting here is going down here to the withhold, right? So calling out, this is what I wanted to hit on with you before you've got to go, Jonas. But these 2 withholds, this to me was savage as hell. So going out with Mike Froman and saying, apart from his wife's personal relationship with the wife of Disney CEO Bob Iger, dude, this is somebody's wife called out. Like I read this. I had to read this twice. I'm like, they literally called out the Stepford wife connection here. Like how many wives are in a 14A disclosure to the
amazing.
SEC?
This is like when Eisner had hit the principal of his son's school on the board,
and he cited it. He provided a citation for that, right? Which is what I was like shocked to see that. It's unclear why Froman, who has spent the past 25 years of his career as a financial executive, a federal trade representative, and national security advisor, was appointed to the board. It appears Disney is equally mystified by the company's own admission. Froman possesses just one skill that is central to the Disney strategy. He's never served on another public company board.
Man, where could he have heard that kind of analysis? I wonder. That's so good. See, I'm not gonna be all full of myself and say that he's watching That Park Place live and our live streams about this, but we very specifically went over Froman and his 360-degree brand activation. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What kind of?
He also does not appear to believe in Disney's future the way we do. Through his tenure, he's never even bought a single share of Disney stock with his own money. Oh,
he's also on the Council on Foreign Relations, which is
and that's I think where we get into the Chi-Com connections, and there's a lot to go into with that. I mean, guys, there's issues on issues on issues with that. That's a whole separate thing. And look, if I get assassinated here abroad, you guys know who got me. Maria Elena Lagomasino, she chaired Disney's compensation committee, and she's been a member of the committee since 25. During her tenure as the compensation committee, Ms. Lagomasino has overseen payments of $800 million to Disney executives, while Disney lost stock nearly 20%, and the dividend has been reduced. She oversaw the awarding of the 4-year comp package to Iger valued at $250 million, but the board endorsed the 21st Century Fox acquisition, which they describe as value destructive, right?
Oh, and we're still seeing the fallout from that. There was just another
Yes.
10 billion in value lost from just the India aspect of the Fox acquisition.
Right, right.
I'm beginning to think that when we all said, "Why in the world is Murdoch selling Fox?" I think we all know now that he convinced Bob Iger it was Bob Iger's idea.
He had the right idea. Further, Miss Lagomasino's background in wealth management appears unrelated to any Disney businesses, and like Mr. Froman, she possesses just one skill that is central to the strategy, according to their own analysis. She's never served on another public company board. God damn! I mean, it's bad. Those two. I mean,
have you looked at that chart? Have you looked at that chart? First of all, another 300.
Which chart?
The chart from the SEC filing. I've had it up on my screen for like 3 days.
Is the one about the losses?
No, the dots chart where they have her as one of the 360-degree brand activation people. It's a sea of nothing, and then that's little dots to say, oh yes, they have that. Down at the bottom, there's a little dot for Froman.
I've seen this here.
Let me see if I can.
If you've got it real quick, I would love to see it.
There's been so many filings going
but
back
clearly, guys,
right
this
now.
is all off the SEC. We're not making this up. I'm not pulling it from some crazy place. You guys can pull this off the SEC. This is the Disney at DIS on NYSE SE. This is off the Security and Exchange Commission, sec.gov/Edgar/browse. You can check this all out yourself. As I always say, this channel is Legal Mindset. Be your own judge, do your own due diligence, fact check us, make sure we're not bullshitting you, but we go to the original documents so we can show you the actual information, not the filtered version that you're getting in the mainstream media where they don't even know how to look this stuff up. And it's like very easy to do, but they don't even do it. They're so damn lazy. And they always just make a statement based on the talking point that Disney gave them, which is frankly doing a disservice to the news.
Right. It's often incorrect.
Yeah.
Willfully incorrect or correct in a way that's misleading. I've got it. If you
you've got it. Okay. I've got it right here. Okay.
Yeah. So right here, here's their chart here. Everybody has these core competencies right here. They explain what all of that is, that basically anyone who's been in a Fortune 500 company
360-degree brand activity. What the does that mean? I feel like that's a special move in an anime. 300-degree brand activation.
Gum 360 degree. Oh, it's beautiful.
Like, what is that?
So
what is that?
I think that means that you've worked at a company that you recognize the brand of. Although Froman, I would say that he hasn't even done that. Lagomasino, she worked at JP Morgan for a little while. So you have to go all the way down here to find something that is quote unquote unique to them. Froman has cybersecurity. Okay, well, you can hire that out. That's not a problem, and you don't have to have somebody on your board for cybersecurity. And then Lagomasino down here has diversity. By the way, they count white people, white women. They count
what?
They count
white women are diverse now.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, aren't they a majority? Like, aren't there more women than men?
Yeah, absolutely. More of the population is female than male.
It's female than male, like 51% to 50. So, like, I mean, we're a minority, Jonas. I'm presuming your gender here, but
Yeah. Well, I do have lived experience in my life. What a weighted phrase. Barra Katz. This is Mary T. Barra, Safra Katz, Carolyn Everson. That's 4 dots right here that are white women.
So they gave Chang Chang got a diversity point there. Okay, all right.
Yeah, she's female and Asian, and
Asian,
Rice.
Right, we're counting Asian. Where's it female? I don't know. Do they tell what the point is for? Right,
they don't, but
they don't specify.
They have those, those tasteless diversity check boxes. They got rid of those,
yes.
And now they're diversity dots. So yeah, this is all. Even when they say they have a quote unquote diverse board, it's not even diverse by the most modern understanding of that phrase. And the 2 guys that they just brought on, who happen to be highly qualified. Well, I'm going to say qualified for Gorman coming in. He's actually
hold on. How does Froman, like those core competencies, right? They gave him dots for all of this. If he's never really worked at a corporation, how does he have corporate responsibility experience?
Well, let's see.
How would you justify that?
Here we go. Froman has worked as the president of the Council on Foreign Relations. He was a
I
vice
guess because
chairman.
Citigroup.
Yeah, MasterCard as well.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So
All right, there you go.
financial services. So
It's okay. Servicing financials. Okay, got it. Yeah.
which I will say on the corporate governance aspect, if you're in there, generally there's someone, a corporate counsel or someone who is more qualified, pointing that out for you. If you've ever been around an executive who is making that transition from executive to executive officer, where they're actually quote unquote signing off on the financial statements, they don't know what they're signing for the most part.
Yes.
You have to be in there for a while, and you usually have to go to one of those actually qualified positions like accounting or legal, in order to know who is actually competent in signing these things. Otherwise, it's just you're signing your name to something, and you're just trusting that everything is going well.
No, I mean that's the briefing. I mean, I've sat in on those briefings where it's like I'm telling them what it is, and they're like, "I trust you," and they just sign it.
Yeah,
right. I've had that told to me by C-suite executives up to and including a CEO of a major company that said, "No, I trust you," and just signed it. And I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, I've had millions of dollars of bonds signed like that, and I mean, it even made me uncomfortable. I mean, look, it was all neat, it was all cleaned up, it was all reviewed by their counsel, but it still makes you a little bit nervous when they don't even bother knowing what they're signing.
Right.
I've
had that before. I've had someone sign on the dotted line approving a journal entry that they obviously did not understand. They went through the pretense of signing it, and I came back later and realized they had no idea. Yeah,
and look, I get it. Like, for example, when it was bonds, and I'm going to do, by the way, guys, we are going to do. It's going to take me time. I'm still working through it, but I am working through like potential material non-disclosures or misstatements in the bond documents. There's a lot of bond documents though, so it's like an adventure. But when we would sign bond documents, it'd be hundreds of pages, and at least from different parties. You know, each party would sign at least 40 or 50 different times in different places. So there's a lot of signatures. I get not knowing what every single page is, or maybe not knowing the general point, but not reading every single line. I get that. I can get that. But you at least should know the general ambit of what you're signing and like generally what it does.
Yeah.
Before you sign, even something that's voluminous, especially if it's something that's important.
Be that person that makes the signing agent over there at the when you're buying a house. Be the one there that makes it painful for everybody, because you want to know what you're signing.
Speaking of painful, anyways, thank you. That's
I was trying to swallow coffee.
Oh, you were trying to swallow at the same time. All right.
I almost spit all over my computer.
Well, that would make you suitable for Disney. All right. So Jonas, I know you've got to go. I know you've got a lot of stuff to do, and we're going to jump into the defamation thing. So I'm going to get real law nerd on that.
Awesome.
But before you go, do you want to talk about what you're going to be up to next couple of days, obviously leading up to the earnings call? Well,
first of all, we got the pro show tomorrow, which I think that's going to be a banger. We're going to be talking about Peltz, and
somebody just asked if I was going to come on, and my answer is always if I'm awake.
You are welcome anytime, of course. And I'm the producer, so I'm supposed to be programming that. So, Pro, you know that I've asked Andrew, hey, Andrew, do you want to be on? So, and I already have the answer. You'll get the link, no problem there. And of course, I know that you're critical for those Valiant Renegade earnings call live streams.
Yeah, I will definitely be on during and then on after, because it's going to be something I probably have to. I've gone through a bunch of them, and I listen to it. I write down my notes during it, and then I think about it. I go find the law, and then I go, wait a second, right? Like the more I think about the statements, the more they become problematic. So I know that's going to be a great one. And this one, there's so much to potentially step in. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, and then I'll have the benefit of a little bit of hindsight there, because that Park Place Live on Tuesday at noon Eastern time, we'll be going through the fallout of the earnings call. We'll have a little bit of time to see the market reaction, not a ton of it. I'm just going to say it's probably going to go a slight amount up.
That's Thursday, right?
Yes, Thursday at noon. You're welcome there as well.
Yeah. So the earnings call, it's Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. EST.
That sounds right to me.
And then Thursday is your okay. Yeah, just making sure. I'm trying to get my own schedule in order here. You know, it's like, all right.
Pro show at noon on Tuesday. Valiant. 30 minutes before the actual earnings call, he'll start, and Midnight's Edge will be going that day at noon as well, and then that Park Place Live on Thursday. So it's going to be it's going to be an amazing week.
What do you think about Chapek joining Massimo Medical?
I think that he has previous relationships with Apple, and he's a heavy hitter in that space. He's a product guy, and I think he's probably better when he's outside of that media area. I don't think that he was the right fit to be the face of a company that has to do all that creative work. In fact, Bob Iger has shown that maybe they have a little too much emphasis on that face character, Bob Iger. That's a good word for him when we're talking about Disney, face character. I think that Bob Chapek, has a lot of competencies that will help him in that space when doing battle with Apple or negotiating some kind of deal where that sensor stays in the Apple Watch. So I think that's the win for them, is making it to where Apple just pays them a little bit of money and keeps their amazing technology in the Apple Watch. So
right. And it's very interesting that they're suing Apple for patent infringement.
Yes. I wonder how much. I mean, I would not want to go up against Apple, because how many lawyers can you afford? Apple can afford more.
Well, that's always the battle, right? And you see what's going on with Disney, where what they do with procedure, what they're doing with procedure in delaying and requesting records, they do whatever it takes to drive the costs up, because that's how they always win. They win by making it so costly and difficult on you, it's impossible for your one lawyer to keep up with their 20.
Yes.
So that's how they win. It's lawfare at the worst. And frankly, I think our system does need some sort of, I can't use the word equity because it's been tainted, but does need some sort of due process that can, balance the system out. I'll say.
Yeah. I need to say the last half of this statement because somebody's asking in the chat. A slight amount up. Yes. Usually Wall Street does not cover this as intensely as we do. And I think the stock will rise a small amount up right after the earnings call. And then probably we'll get more normal activity after that.
You're not talking about beating 100 right now.
Well, I mean, with this Peltz situation, I no financial advice here. I mean, it got up to 120 last.
Yeah, sure. This is not not financial advice at all whatsoever.
I think there's an upward trajectory right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're at 96. So yeah, I guess short term with a proxy battle. And I guess the trend, and look, I'm no expert here, but I from what I understand, when you're looking at a proxy battle, that generally is good for the stock price.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So obviously you see here, stock price has been really trending up since November. Yeah. Right. So as of November, we're up. Right.
Right.
But
so I think
this gives you the room for regression.
Yeah, I think there's an upward trend, and there will be something that pushes it slightly up. Whether or not that's going to be anything more than a negligible amount, usually Bob Iger talking to Wall Street investors is a good thing for the company. Usually, because these are not the people that are going to hold his feet to the fire the way that they will on the annual call, which is coming up in April.
Very much. Leprechaun Gold, thank you so much for the $50 Shiba super sticker. Or rather, sorry, the little plant thing super sticker. Appreciate that.
That's awesome.
So much. Thank you for supporting the channel. And guys, thank you for all your support, whether you've been a member, whether you're joining, smash the like button. Appreciate all you. Also appreciate the folks over there on Rumble and the folks on Locals as well. Smash that pussy if you're over there on Rumble with the almost 200 people watching on Rumble. 900 here pretty constantly. And stay tuned. We're losing Jonas, unfortunately, but we're gonna.
Yeah, I got to go do a 360-degree brand activation before the next video comes out. So,
well, just do it gently and with adult supervision. That said, thank you for joining. It's been great. May see you on the pro show.
Awesome. I'll send you the link, man.
Send me the link, and if I can join, I can join. But definitely good to have you on the channel and appreciate it.
Awesome. And I see that is this live.
It's not just another 20 members. What is going on here? Boog, Hobo 998 Derp, Great Bingus, Messy Chavez, Squirrel 130, Pilgrim Media, Seneca 76, just eat her cake. Oh boy. God's favorite aunt, Mo Lester.
See you later.
Counter Tenor, Morty E, and Ferbs, and Benjamin Elliott, Josh and Jazz and Jam and John. All you guys say thank you to. All you guys say thank you to is this live. I can't believe somebody got me to read Mo Lester on. God damn it! All right, well I'm done. That's clipped. It's over. Nice knowing you, YouTube. It's been nice. It's been nice knowing you. There we go. All right. That said. Good everybody, and also thank you for Leprechaun Gold dropped another $50 super sticker. Appreciate you very much with a second leafy thing. Thank you, appreciate that coming in big there, all you guys, and thank you for the support. Is this live? You are coming up big today. Appreciate you guys letting me do this day to day. Couldn't do it without you guys' support, and wouldn't do it as often unless I was had you guys support. So I do appreciate that. From you as well. And we just had our members only stream. So for those that caught that members only stream, please make sure you're saying thank you, because when I did a poll in that members only stream, 85% were gifted a membership. 85%. So make sure you are thanking the folks that are hooking you up. All right. Let's get into the Florida defamation bill. Now, this may very well tie in with Disney. I will get to it. But in case you guys don't know, this is the next big bill. Yeah. How do you spell demonetized? You spell demonetized as me saying Mo Lester. Oh, man. Well, by the way, you know that the stream where I covered Dignify AI? And by the way, Dignify AI has been killing it. For any of those that have not been following Dignify AI, you're missing out. Just going to say it right now. You are 100% missing out. But Dignify AI, absolutely killing it. And it started doing, Dignify AI started doing guys, and it has just gotten absolutely hilarious. For any of you that are not into this, you need to follow this account. It's one of the funniest accounts that I've seen on a while. It takes random thoughts and puts clothes on them, makes them into housewaifu material. I'll just give you guys a little taste for those that missed it the other day. But you've got putting clothes on there, and here's one that just got me. You've got Post Malone and Pre Malone. This to me is like, bro, if Post Malone, no tattoos, shaved, cleaned up, put on a non-weird suit, clean shirt, man, so great. So great. But it's really great cleaning up these trashy girls, putting some clothes on them, and also putting some clothes on some trashy guys. You got Elon over here. Elon losing some weight, getting the suit on Elon, classed him up. Looks good. It's good. Shout out to Dignify AI. That's really great. So, anyways, all right. The next big bill that I see, Don, I'm timing you out for 30 seconds for that bullshit. Here, I'm timing you out. Wait, I think I may have timed you out for too long. I'll untime you out. It's all good. I'll bring you back. I love you. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Here's the new bill. This is the bill, and this is how it's being covered by the leftist media, obviously The Guardian. So this is a very, 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 very left take. A very left take. Stormcrow says, you want me to time you out too? Okay, I'll time you out too. I don't want to leave you guys out. I don't want to leave anybody out. I'll time you out too. Give you a solid 10 seconds in time out. It's really laggy right now too with the timing out. And also, I don't know why it's deleting the messages when I time somebody out. Anyways, Florida's new anti-gay bill aims to limit and punish free speech. SB 1780 would make defamation to accuse someone of homophobia, transphobia, racism, or sexism punishable by fine. So, day 2 of Florida's legislative session, which started last month, the lawmakers have introduced nearly 20 anti-gay and anti-trans bills. So yet again, they're accusing everything that Florida does carte blanche of being anti-gay and anti-trans. Remember, they did that for the parental rights and education bill. They said that it's anti-gay and anti-trans to not speak to children about sexuality under 3rd grade. So they said that to be pro-gay, you need to talk to children in 3rd grade and 1st grade and kindergarten about sex and about sexuality. So now the liberals are getting all hurt about it, about this new defamation bill. But luckily we can look up this bill, Bill 1780, right? And you guys can do this too, because everything is available online. Surprise, surprise. So we can go here and just look up the Senate bill. We don't have to wait very long. You just go over here, pop open the Senate bill and say, okay, well, where's the Senate bill? Let's just take a look at that. All right, we got that right here. Right, we've got this. SB 1780, defamation, false light, and unauthorized publication of name and likeness. So let's be very, very clear about this type of law. Many states have crimes called false light. False light is something that is completely accepted by the First Amendment. It's completely acceptable. It's like defamation. Defamation and false light are both known and accepted exceptions to the First Amendment. A lot of people think this First Amendment is unlimited. It's not. You don't have a First Amendment right to commit crimes. You don't have a First Amendment right to defame somebody. That goes beyond your First Amendment right. So there are limits to the First Amendment in the light of defamation and also false light. Those both have been held up. Now, how is defamation different than false light? Well, false light is not necessarily saying something strictly defamatory. False light is painting somebody in a deceptive way that hurts them. So in a false light case, you are painting something in a false light that hurts them. We're going to get into a very famous case involving a pig and a porn magazine. But before we get into that, we're going to get into the bill. Before we get into pigs and porn, stick around for pigs and porn. We're going to get into it. Also, unauthorized publication of name and likeness. There's many states that have that for public figures, right? So many states like California, New York, I believe as well, but I know California for sure. They have really strict laws regarding likeness, name. That's a real strict thing. So not anything that's novel or unique to Florida specifically, but let's go into the actual text here. So here's the text of 1780. This is a bill to be entitled. Now we're going to skip past the long name. This is all the name and get into what it actually does. So what these people are accusing this of is they're accusing this first and foremost of violating journalist privilege. Of violating journalist privilege. And by the way, Heath Nielsen says, hello from Norfolk Southern Watkins line. Hey, what's up? Keep on training in Norfolk Southern. Hope you're doing well and keep on hanging out. Good to hear you. Brian says, so glad I didn't miss this premiere. We are live, Brian. We are live AI. And Don Baca is now live again after his timeout. Leading the league, baby. You are the #1 mod for being timed out. And liking it. You're going to like it, Don. You're going to like it, Don. Okay. So the #1 thing people are harping on here is that this is going to somehow violate that 1780, this bill in Florida regarding defamation is going to hurt journalist privilege. When we look at the actual facts, that is completely not true. So this does not apply to defamation claims where the defendant is a professional journalist. So it doesn't do anything to journalist privilege. However, what it does do is it does require, if you scroll down, a presumption about anonymous sources. Okay? So when you go down, this language is in section 7. Don't worry, we'll cover all the other sections, but I want to get to the journalist part. So a presumption regarding anonymous sources. A statement by an anonymous source is presumptively false for the purposes of a defamation action. In a case where a defendant in a defamation action refuses to identify the source of the defamatory statement, the plaintiff need only prove that the defendant acted negligently in making the defamatory statement. Here's what's happening right now, guys. The woke media is using supposed anonymous sources to call people is and phobes and bigots and whatever else, all these nasty things which are destroying people's career are coming through quote unquote anonymous sources, which can mean they're just making it up. They're completely making this shit up. And if it's an anonymous source, adding a presumption that you need to treat that information as if it's bullshit is good, unless you verify it, right? If they acted negligently, which means, look, if you went out and you independently verify it, that's going to be fine. Remember, truth is an absolute defense. It's an absolute defense to defamation. So if you can prove that somebody is a bigot, then you can call them a bigot. It's fine. But you've got to be able to quantifiably prove that. Not say, well, an anonymous source said you called them a wetback. That's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough. According to Mexican Iron Man, your taco quota did not hit the required amount. Therefore, you're El Salvadorian. I don't know, whatever insult you want to come out with. You're going to need sources. You're going to have to cite them unless you want to say, well, that's false. And you have to come out and say it's false. And we need that. We need to stop people from just openly claiming people are is and phobes and XYZ because they've overused it and they've killed it. And they've also destroyed people's lives. People cannot get hired because they've got that on their name now. I like you guys here in the chat saying, my anonymous sources say this is not live. No, it's super live. Like super straight. Yeah, anonymous sources, they increasingly mean made up. Adam Wolford also welcome as a member for 1 month of the Replay Gang. And then Brian Gibson says, oh yeah, I got this. So glad I didn't miss the premiere. Yeah, I got that. We're caught up. Make sure everything's good here. All right, back to the actual text. So malice for public figures, right? A public figure doesn't need to show actual malice to prevail in a defamation case where the allegation does not relate to the reason, right? Also, here's another one. Invasion of privacy. Any person who gives publicity to a matter concerning a natural person that places the person before the public in a false light is subject to liability if the false light in which the person was placed would be highly offensive to a reasonable person and the defendant had knowledge or act recklessly or disregard regarding to the false implications of the publicized matter. This section incorporates the standards set forth under this chapter for defamation causes of action. And here's a big one. Here's a huge one. And this is something that the woke media is not going to talk about. Editing any form of media so it it attributes something false or leads a reasonable viewer to believe something false about a plaintiff may give rise to defamation claim for false light. This is massive, guys. This is massive. Think about all those journalists. Think about all those that deceptively edit video, that deceptively edit tweets, that deceptively portray information that leads people to believe they're an istophobe XYZ. This is needed. This is much needed. This is going to hold those quote unquote journalists to a standard before they go out and yell and scream about people being istophobes and XYZ. They've actually got to show the whole context. This is going to force media to show the whole context, not just the clip. This is going to force authenticity. I like this. This is why in the law, in evidence, we have something called the rule of completeness, which means if you're going to enter in something like a video, you have to enter in the whole video so we see the whole context. This is going to be good. Very good. Says, oh, I don't know. The fine people edits. I mean, look, there's edits for parody and everything else like that. That's not going to be caught up in here. This is specifically for something that's going to portray you in a bad way. We're going to talk about how that's been held up. And a lot of people say this is going to be challenged, but I don't think stuff like false light can be challenged because false light has been held up in other states. And it's been held up to a strong extent, including with pigs and porn. Scorpion Black Dragon says, when did you change your name from legal to regal? You must have just tuned in, Scorpid. Did you miss the beginning when we were reviewing Aristocats? And we were going over the part that apparently got it a content warning on Disney. So apparently there's a content warning for the Siamese cat talking about chopsticks and yeah, and doing the dun 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 dun, like all that stuff, like doing the very kind of stereotypical Asian tropes, which no Asian would be offended by unless they're super woke, right? Like in Asia, people would think that's funny, right? As top Asian correspondent, I can tell you that right now. So in honor of my hero, Hanj Bricks, I changed it to Regal Mindset. Also, temporarily, I changed my audio avatar, as you guys can see, to a totally appropriate, totally non-offensive avatar. Of course, I can always go back to the classic. I mean, we've got our very classic audio avatar of, you know, definitely another Asian gold here of Kim Jong Andrew. All right. So in regards to the rest of this bill, they add in some anti-SLAPP stuff regarding governments. So that's really good. So they protect people from SLAPP lawsuits. SLAPP lawsuits are strategic lawsuits against public participation. So essentially for HOAs or governments to sue people for defamation to stop them from talking, yeah, that's prohibited. And they add in provisions regarding that to prevent any problems regarding that. But let's go into what else they do here. So there's about venue. Obviously, there's damages, but I want to get into the substance here. They can get attorney's costs. Okay, here we go. Limitations on judicial determination of a public figure. This is actually really big. And I think YouTubers need to pay attention to this. And this is actually really good for YouTubers. So under this law in Florida, for example, if I was under Florida law, I would not be a public figure because a person may not be considered a public figure for purposes of establishing a defamation or privacy tort claim if his or her fame arises solely from one or more of the following. One, defending himself or herself publicly against accusation. So, for example, somebody like George Zimmerman or Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse only became famous from defending himself. So he would not be considered a public figure. Number two, granting an interview on a topic. So a doctor or somebody else who gave a interview saying Fauci is full of shit. Nick Sandman, good example. Public employment other than elected office or appointment by elected official. So a government employee. And number four, a video, image, or statement uploaded on the internet that just reads to a broad audience. Now, I know, according to my statistics, only about 25% of you are broads. The rest of you are blokes. But I do think we have a broad audience here. I do think we're dealing with a series of tubes and a series of videos and images. So I think that what we're saying is that like YouTubers and TikTokers and other folks could actually not fall into public figure. So you could actually get an exemption from public figure under this, which is good because if you're a public figure, you have to prove a higher standard for defamation. This clarifies the standard about malice, right? And now let me get into the isms, right? So, okay, hold on. Let me do this real quick. 1 second. Here we go. So here is the pertinent part of the standard. So here it is. A fact finder shall infer actual malice for the purpose of a defamation action when the defamatory action is fabricated by the defendant, is the project of his or her imagination, or is based wholly on an unverified anonymous report. So guys, all of these people crying about this, if it's true, they don't need to worry. Why should we give a shit about journalists' right to lie? Any journalist, any single journalist who is defending this is defending the right to lie, to straight up lie. I don't care for that anymore. We need authenticity. I don't think journalists have a right to lie because they're suddenly magically journalists. Sorry. No. Based on an allegation so inherently implausible that only a reckless person would put it into circulation. There are obvious reasons to doubt the veracity of the defamatory allegation and the accuracy of the reports. There are obvious reasons to doubt when there is sufficient contrary evidence that was known or should have been known. The report is improbable or implausible. Or the defendant willfully failed to validate, corroborate, or verify the defamatory accusation. And here's number two. An allegation that the plaintiff has discriminated against another person or group because of their race, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity constitutes defamation per se. Defamation per se means by statute, it is automatically defamation. That's a strong change. Now, that's what's going to get challenged, guys. This part will be challenged. I'm going to be clear. This part right here, number 2, is going to be challenged. And mind you, they could make a ruling regarding this specific provision, but the rest of this may be just fine. Right? Maybe just fine. A defendant cannot prove the truth of the allegation of discrimination with respect to sexual orientation or gender identity by citing a plaintiff's constitutionally protected religious expression or beliefs. So what this says right now is that you cannot call somebody anti-gay or anti-trans because they're Christian. Let's be very clear. Or because they're Muslim, or because they're Jewish. You can't say because you are Christian or Muslim or whatever, you are anti-trans. You cannot say that anymore. Okay. A defendant cannot prove the truth of an allegation of discrimination with respect to sexual orientation or gender by citing a plaintiff's scientific beliefs. I like this one. Scientific beliefs. So what this says is because you believe that men have an XY chromosome and women have an XX chromosome, that cannot be called racist, sexist, whatever. These are the provisions that will get challenged. Now, I think they can still win. And I'm going to show you the case law real quick in a second. But before that, please say thank you. Big shout out for Jay. What's up, Jay? Appreciate the donation, Jay, of 10 Legal Mindset memberships. And those that have been hooked up, please say thank you. That is Naptown Nerd, Darius, Shizuhiru, Kiryoko, Max Dchek, Brandon the Anime Guy. What's up, Brandon? Good to see you out there. Mars Monkey Max, Anthony Cruz, John Thomas, Will H. Who else we got here? And yeah, there we go. There we go. So all you guys say thank you to Jay for hooking you up with the memberships and making you part of the Base Legal Mindset. Gonchihogi 437 says accountability is a 4-letter word in journalism. Yeah, it's absolute shit, right? They're not accountable at all. Okay, so why do I think this is going to hold up? Well, it has to do with a certain naughty magazine from back in the day. Now, some of you may not be that old. In fact, I'm not even that old. Look, when I was growing up, naughty magazines like Playboy, Penthouse, etc., they were on the decline. I remember when I was in like elementary school, somebody talked about a Playboy, and I was like, oh, what's that? Right? But I don't remember seeing them really in stands, even like after high school or college. It kind of got phased out. Everything went digital, right? But back in the day, there were these adult magazines, and one of them, which I don't know, you guys, some old people in the chat, Don Baca, maybe you know, you old guy. There's one called Chic, right? This is just a random cover. This is not the offensive cover right here, but XX adult motels. We check in and can't check out. A new mistress of a kinky advice, right? Like that's the type of thing you would see on it. So what happened was there was this very nice, sweet lady named Jeannie Braun, right? Let me see if I can pull up a photo of Jeannie Braun with her pig, right? Okay, so here's Jeannie Braun's pig, right? So Jeannie Braun, I'll show you this real quick. Jeannie Braun had a pig, right? And she was like, it was like a special pig, and it was just like a portrayal of her with this pig, right? Well, this pig and her were put on the same page of a naughty magazine, of the Chic magazine, with certain articles that were on that same page that talked about 10 things that piss off women, talked about mammaries are made of these, and talks about synthetic hormones, talks about had a cartoon about a woman with large breasts, talking about Chinese organ use of like taking sex organs from animals. It had nude models on it. It had a woman with her like breasts out, on it. And because Jeannie Braun, this woman, without her consent, was featured in this magazine on the naughty page, right? She wasn't naughty, but she was featured on that page. It put her in a false light. It traumatized her, and it hurt her image to be in a naughty magazine. So in the case of Braun versus Flint, this is a real case, Larry Flint, right, of Hustler fame, they held that a defendant who placed a private figure in a false light was not entitled to heightened protection of the actual malice and could instead be found liable on a showing of negligence, and was found liable. So this case involving Porky and porn here, this case shows us that false light cases can work and they are actionable. So I think we actually have a case here where this Florida legislation, because of Larry Flint, pigs, and porn, may actually fly, where we can talk about you're painting people in a false light. You're taking ordinary, regular people without their consent and putting them in articles and calling them is and phobes and X and Y and Z. I think this is much needed. I think we need stronger laws on this to come after people for calling people things that are extraordinarily damaging to their reputation. They're not criminal, because remember, it's not criminal to be a racist. You can legally be a racist, but it is horribly damaging to your reputation. It is horribly damaging to you professionally, socially, etc. Despite the fact it's not illegal. You can be a racist in America. You can be a sexist in America. It's totally permissible. But it certainly would hurt you to be accused of that if you are not that. Now, look, if you are the grand dragon of the KKK and someone calls you a racist, it's still going to be okay because, well, that's going to be something that you're proud of, right? Was the settlement in Braun versus Flint disclosed? I'm not positive. I don't think it was. Let me just double check. I don't. Let's see. I think they got damages, 5,000 actual damages and 25,000 in punitive damages. But remember, this is like so $30,000 in 1982. Hold on. $1982 to 2024. Let's see. So that's almost $100,000. So $30,000 in 1982 is almost $100,000 today. So that's not a bad claim right there. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Actually, more money than you get even from this statute in Florida. So there you go. There you go. Yay, Biden inflation. Next, Pemcast 1. Got to talk to Drexel about that. That'll be on Illegal Mindset. So you guys know, anything that's kind of off topic of legal news, Disney, stuff like that will be on Illegal Mindset. I'm probably going to cover more gaming and the anime stuff there. I'm still going to do my main anime stream here because I want more people to get it. That'll be my once a month stream. But if I'm doing like more topical stuff, like weekly stuff, that'll be, or pre-recorded videos, that'll be on Illegal Mindset. That's what I'm planning to do over there. But yeah, Drex and them, that'll go over there on Illegal Mindset. So whenever I can get a hold of him, that'll be over there on that channel. But I know he's been busy and kind of been doing his own thing. So guys, that's what we got for today. Really fun episode here today with you guys, hanging out on Rumble, on Locals, everywhere else. Make sure you smash that pussy. Shout out to my Rumble people. I see you over there, Alec Kazam, Aaron Howell. Appreciate all y'all over there on Rumble as well. Guys, I will be back tomorrow. Make sure you take care, be safe, stay based, and I will catch you on the next one tomorrow. Peace.